I'll flying over the police station, yeah.
Is there any particular reason?
Yeah, I'm just having a little look. Is that a lunch? Is that like a canteen at top, you know, around back on side? I'm just having a little look, you know, getting some kind of zoomed in shots to see what there is to see, really. Just having a bit of a nosy, if you know what I mean.
Why though? Any reason for it?
Nah, just for me, personal reason. Don't work for any business or like that, don't we? Yeah.
What's your personal interest with what goes on inside a police station?
Well, it's not my own personal interest, you know what I mean?
That's
there's a lot of people.
You said your personal. It's for you. It's personal for you. Well, you've obviously zoomed in well enough to see that there's tables and chairs and asked if there's a canteen. So
no, I never said that, did I? No, I didn't say that, did I? I never said that, did I? No, I said, is that a canteen? I never said I'd zoomed in on the canteen, did I?
You said you got some zoomed in images, yeah, and then asked.
No, I am zooming in on the police station just to have a look at it. Just it's nothing.
For what reason? For what reason?
Because
all we're interested in is why you would be doing that.
Just for my own purposes. I'm just making a little documentary of some of the buildings in the area.
Right.
Yeah. So I thought what I'd do is I'll have a look. At the police station because I came to have a look at this place, Forza, which is it's kind of meat processing place, isn't it? So I'm just having a little look around. I came to have a quick look at Forza, and then I saw the police headquarters. So I thought, right, what I'll do is I'll go down there first, have a quick flyover, get zoomed in on some of the bits the public might want to see that they don't generally get to see.
There's a reason that the public don't get to see that, yeah. Because it's the inside of the police.
If the drone operator was merely capturing footage of the building's exterior, without intruding into private or restricted areas, this activity typically does not violate any laws. The officer's concern regarding zooming inside would be legally significant only if the drone recorded footage through windows into areas where individuals have a reasonable expectation of privacy, such as offices or private rooms. Simply zooming in on a building's facade, especially when done from public airspace, and without capturing private activities, does not constitute a breach of privacy laws. In this instance, the auditor's inquiry about the location of the canteen does not imply that he captured footage of it or any other private area.
I didn't go in.
Right. Well, technically you have, because you've got a camera on that and you've zoomed in. Right?
No, I'm in the airspace above the police station.
That's reasonable, isn't it, right? That police station is not for public access, hence why it's so secure. By flying that
I didn't go in though, so what are you talking to me like that for? Like telling me off like a naughty schoolboy?
I'm saying, you've flown the drone in there.
Yeah, I have.
Obviously zoomed in on the police station that's not for public access, right?
I have zoomed in on the police station,
There's a reason why it's not for public access, because it's the police station.
Be crystal clear, zooming a camera lens into a location does not equate to physically entering it. That's not trespass, that's not unlawful access, and it's certainly not a crime under UK law. Specifically, the Trespass Act and the broader principles of property law. Trespass requires physical intrusion onto private land or into a private space. Imagery taken from outside, whether through a zoom lens or a drone, does not cross that threshold as officers trying to invent a technical offense where none exist. If that kind of logic held up, every press photographer using a telephoto lens would be committing an offense every time they zoomed in on a building. It's nonsense. Also worth noting, Article 10 of the Human Rights Act protects freedom of expression, which includes the right to receive and impart information, even via photography and video.
Because I can fly over, it's in the airspace.
If you're flying over it, but you've told me that you've zoomed in on the building.
I've zoomed in on the building, to get some close-up shots.
Why?
Because I wanted to.
But it's not for public access, is it?
Well, I'm allowed to do that. I'm allowed to do that.
It's not for public access, is it? And that's going to arouse our suspicion.
You can say it's not for public access as much as you want, but you're not going to convince me.
Over it and you're zooming into the police station, so we've come to ask you why.
I know. I've just said I'm literally come to here to make a little video about Forza. Saw the police station. Come in to have a look at the police station. They're saying that I'm somebody, and they can't tell because there was no way they can tell what I look like based on them.
That's your opinion.
Goes straight for the hammer. I'll do it under the Terrorism Act if I have to. Section 60. Let's unpack how utterly wrong that is. First, Section 60 of the Criminal Justice and Public Order Act 1994. Not the Terrorism Act relates to stop and search in anticipation of violence. It gives police power to search for weapons, not to demand ID, and not for filming or drone use. So this officer not only misstates the law, he invokes the wrong legislation entirely. Second, if he meant Section 43 of the Terrorism Act 2000, that power allows a stop and search only if a constable reasonably suspects someone is a terrorist. Reasonable suspicion must be based on objective facts, not just filming. And certainly not refusing to give a name. Refusal to identify oneself is not grounds for suspicion under that act. This officer has no such grounds. He's using terrorism legislation as a tool of coercion that's dangerous, and it's unlawful money.
Private conversation in public. Well, I don't know why you're trying to incriminate me.
I've asked you nicely now what your name is.
Yeah.
All right?
Listen to me first.
Personal, which I can ask you.
Yeah.
To identify yourself.
Listen to me first.
If you want to mess about, we'll look at going under Terrorism Act. Okay?
Terrorism Act. Don't be stupid. Listen to it. Like, if you're asking for my details, you've got. I don't believe that I have to give you my details. So you're gonna have to tell me what section of the law you're acting in when you ask me for those.
As I've said, I'll do it under Terrorism Act if I have to.
What? Which act?
Section 60.
Section 60. Yeah. Terrorism Act.
Yes.
To get my details.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Calmly clarifies. He hasn't zoomed in on any windows, hasn't looked into private areas, and hasn't published any sensitive details. All he said was which side of the building. The canteen is on information visible from public vantage points, and hardly national security material. Knowing where a staff canteen is doesn't breach security. It exposes how fragile the station's internal privacy is. If anything, police aren't supposed to make up offenses and then check the law afterwards to see if they can justify themselves. That's backwards policing. You need legal grounds before you approach someone, not while you're already mid-interrogation.
This guy's a police officer, 4737, and he doesn't know the law. Can you believe that? What do you think of that? The guy that doesn't know the law.
I don't have no comment on that.
He doesn't have a comment. No, that's fine. Anyway, what's your name? Do you want to give me your name or anything?
Don't have to.
Yeah. You're out in public though now, aren't you? Are you SIA licensed?
Sorry?
Are you SIA licensed?
I am, yes.
Where's your SIA badge then? Because we've got two police over there, and you know it's illegal to not have your SIA badge on in public when you're dealing.
It's within a metre off site.
Within
a metre off site.
A metre off site. Oh, I think you're more than a metre off site. But anyway, I won't tell them anyway because I'm not against you.
Right, so basically all I've just been doing there is just to double check the legislation around the zooming in aspect of it. So you want to fly the drone, generically that's absolutely fine, but you disclosed to me that you'd been zooming in on the building, you'd taken images zoomed in, that's what you said, effectively, words to that effect.
What law is that against? What law? Yeah.
Let me finish,
okay.
And then you asked me if it were a canteen, so you have clearly been zooming in on
No, I haven't zoomed in through a window. I haven't zoomed in through a window.
The general public wouldn't have access to that, so that's where the sticky situation is. So I'm clarifying whether that's okay or not.
Well, I'll tell you now, I haven't zoomed in through a window, so yeah. I didn't say that. The camera won't lie.
Yeah,
I said, is that the canteen at that side?
Zoomed in images is what you said.
Tells the auditor he should stay put while they work out whether he's done something wrong. That's not how policing is supposed to work in law. You're either being detained under a specific power with clear grounds or you're free to go. There's no legal limbo where officers can casually ask you to remain while they try to invent a justification and when she hints at a possible search. Under Section 1 of PACE, that's a problem. That power only applies when an officer has reasonable grounds to suspect someone is carrying stolen or prohibited items at that moment, not hypothetically depending on what the radio says later. Suggesting a search based on potential future suspicion isn't just bad policing, it's an abuse of authority. This is how rights get chipped away. No force, no shouting, just subtle pressure, legal misrepresentation, and the hope that the public won't know the difference.
Yeah, I did zoom in. I zoomed in on the building because I was getting as close as I can as I was.
Which would suggest that you've zoomed in on the building there.
Well, yeah, that's
how would you know that if you hadn't?
Well, which side is the canteen at?
You tell me. You asked.
I don't know. I was just asking if that's the canteen.
If you hadn't zoomed in, so it's reasonable for me to think that that's what you've done.
Well, I haven't done. Well, I'm telling you that I haven't done.
Double check the legislation around that because that's a little bit of a sticky point.
Yeah. Well, that's not what I said, and that's not what I've done.
Okay, we'll agree to disagree on that.
All right. Well, tell you what I'll do. I'll just get on my bike and ride off then.
Well, you won't because until I
until
I ascertain whether you've committed an offence or not, I'd like you to remain.
No, I'm going to get on my bike and go. I'm going to pack this. I'm going to pack this drone up and I'm off.
Then I will keep you here.
You will keep me here, will you?
Things on you that could harm us or could harm the police station. If it comes back that you have committed an offence, then I may be searching you under Section 1 of PACE.
Yeah, can you just stay back from me?
Yeah, of course.
What are you doing? Why are you walking so close? Look at this. This is like, yeah, I know, but we're both intimidating. Two police officers walking right up to me.
If an officer is restricting your freedom of movement, that's a detention. And when someone explicitly asks, am I being detained? They are legally entitled to a clear, unambiguous answer, yes or no. You may well be. It's not an answer, it's a dodge, and it's a tactic used when an officer wants the authority of a detention without being held accountable for it. Worse still, she ties his right to leave to whether or not the radio comes back with something. Incriminating that's not how due process works. You can't hold someone on the chance that a database check might justify it later. That flips the entire principle of lawful detention on its head. Reasonable suspicion must come before you detain someone, not after. If you're waiting on the radio to tell you whether you have grounds to act, that's your answer.
We're explaining to you about
Yeah,
the process.
I am. Yeah, well, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna leave the scene now because am I detained?
You may well be being detained.
I may well be being detained.
Are you going to listen? You're asking me questions and then you're not letting me finish and answer you.
I'm gonna nip off and come back for Forza later.
Would you like me to answer the question?
I'd like to answer the question whether I'm detained or not with a yes or no answer, and then
Listen.
yeah.
Once we get back, if you've committed an offence or not, then you can be on your way.
That's not how it works.
This right here exposes the core problem with the officer's conduct. Just minutes ago, she implied he couldn't leave because she needed to establish whether an offense had been committed, but now with no new information and no offense disclosed, she completely changes position, suddenly saying he's free to go, while admitting they still haven't figured out what legislation might apply. That's not how lawful policing works. If you don't know whether a law has been broken, you can't imply someone is being held. You can't float legal consequences 1 minute, then act casual the next. The danger here is subtle but serious. It's the use of uncertainty as a tool to keep someone in place to maintain control even when there's no legal power backing.
Tell me which section of the law you're detaining me under.
I said if I was going to search you, it'd be section 1 of page, yeah.
Section 1 of page. That'll be if you're going to search me, yeah?
Yeah.
Alright, well, I'm off. So it's a search, is it? Section 1 of page. Let me have a look if you're going to do...
If I was going to search you, it would
Yeah.
be section 1 of page, yeah. But I'm waiting to hear back. If you want to go, that's fine, because I can't say whether you've committed an offence or not yet.
Yeah,
If you want to leave, that's absolutely fine. I'm just waiting to hear the legislation based on the information you've told. So if you want to go, by all means go.
Section 1 of the Police and Criminal Evidence Act 1984. An officer must have reasonable grounds to suspect that a person is carrying stolen goods, offensive weapons, or prohibited articles. That suspicion must be based on objective facts, not vague concerns. A lawful drone flight, or the fact that someone refuses to provide ID, none of that meets the bar. If the officer went ahead with a search lacking those legal grounds, she'd be exposing herself and the force to a potential civil claim for unlawful stop and search, and possibly a breach of Article 8 of the Human Rights Act, which protects the right to private life. This isn't just about bad policing anymore, it's about legal liability. Qualified immunity in the UK isn't a shield for unlawful behavior. Officers can and have been held personally liable in civil court for unlawful searches.
No, I think I'm going to have a little... Yeah, well, I'm going to have a quick look at section 1 of PACE and see what powers you've got. Because you've got to have reasonable suspicion that I've committed an offence, haven't you?
Exactly, and I've just explained to you, that's what I'm trying to establish. So if you want to search it, that's fine, because I've explained it to you.
I'm going to do, yeah. I'm going to have a little look at section 1 of PACE and see what your powers are. Because can I just say, will you be? I want to tell you something now, right? Yeah. Will you be really careful, because I really don't want to be getting involved in lawsuits with you. I really don't want to be suing you civilly for breaching my rights. Exactly, and I genuinely don't.
If you want.
I know, but I genuinely don't. But if you search me under section 1 of PACE, you guys are going to be in big trouble.
With you. I've explained it to you. If you want to leave, by all means you can leave. We're not holding you here.
Just like that, the officers drive off, no arrest, no caution, no search, no action taken, because there was never any legal basis to act in the first place. What we've just witnessed is a textbook example of poor reactive policing. Officers who approached without clear authority, leaned on vague implications of power, and then quietly backed off once they realized they couldn't justify any of it. From start to finish, this encounter was marked by confusion, contradiction, and a complete lack of legal grounding. One officer suggested that zooming in with the drone camera somehow equated to unlawfully entering a police station, an absurd interpretation of both trespass law and privacy expectations. They attempted to identify the auditor without ever stating what offense he was suspected of. If any, they missed legislation floated the possibility of a search under laws that clearly didn't apply, and repeatedly dodged the basic question of whether he was being detained. Most tellingly, they admitted mid-interaction that they were still waiting to find out what legislation might justify their presence. That admission alone proves there was no legal authority underpinning their actions from the start. This wasn't policing guided by the law. It was policing driven by discomfort, officers reacting emotionally to being filmed and hoping the legal justification would follow. It didn't, and what we're left with is a clear picture of how power can be misused when it's not backed by understanding or accountability. The auditor knew his rights, stood his ground, and Exposed the uncomfortable truth: they had nothing, and when the pressure didn't work, they drove off. No explanation, no apology, just silence. That's it for today's video. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps me continue with my independent coverage. Also, don't forget to check out Northern Audit. His channel is linked in the description. Show him some love. Thanks for watching. This was Raid the Audit, and I'll see you in the next.